As a community, we embark together on an exciting new chapter in the history of the Sherborn Library. With the ambitious renovation and expansion project well underway, we can all feel the gentle hand of the library's past guiding us capably and surely into the future. A familiar sight to all who pass through Sherborn, the majestic purple beech tree stands on Sherborn's Green, welcoming patrons to our town's public library. Planted in 1876, this graceful and iconic tree thrives as a living confirmation of its safekeeping through the decades. So, too, it is with the Sherborn Library, which stands as a testament to our generous community and as a reflection of careful stewardship through the generations. In 1971, Richard and Mary B. Saltonstall embodied such generosity of community when they gave to Sherborn the library at 4 Sanger Street. Designed by local architect James A. S. Walker, the library features an open floor plan, abundant natural light, and working fireplaces, all contributing to the cozy feel of Sherborn's living room. As the only public building where residents of all ages can gather, explore, learn, borrow books, and connect with friends and the community, the library commands a prominent place in the hearts and minds of Sherborn residents.
Now, the Sherborn Library, which has served the town so graciously for 45 years, requires extensive renovation and expansion to continue its integral mission. The time is now to build our future library upon the extraordinary foundation established by the library's many past benefactors. Individuals, families, and town groups who selflessly made the interests of community more important than their own. Sherborn's unique legacy of giving includes gifts, designated for the purchase of books for the library collection, intended for capital needs and to support the library's operating budget, meant to address building maintenance and the beautification of the library's grounds, as well as established for specific needs ranging from the library's youngest patrons to the library's oldest and most rare books.
The 1890 annual report for the town of Sherborn notes establishment of the Greenwood Fund, designated for the purpose of purchasing books for the library under the will of Aaron Greenwood. This bequest was later, in 1987, combined with the Friends Book Fund, originally created by the Friends of the Sherborn Library to establish the Book Endowment Funds. The Book Endowment Funds grew in 1993 when the Babson Book Fund, established from the estate of Marjorie T. Babson to purchase books on foreign subjects, was added to it, followed in 1997 by the Henry B. Roberts Modern Fiction Fund, used to acquire critically acclaimed works of modern fiction for the collection, and again in 2003 by the Friends of the Sherborn Library Media Fund, initiated to support the library's acquisition of non-print materials for the collection. In 1982, Richard Saltonstall established the Mary B. Saltonstall Fund in memory of his late wife, with the hope that the funds be used in such a way as to continue to provide and enhance the high quality of service and experience rendered to the town by the library. And a grant from the Richard Saltonstall Charitable Foundation established the Saltonstall Operating Fund in December 1984, with the purpose of supplementing appropriations by the town of Sherborn to meet the library's operating budget, complementing the Mary B. Saltonstall Fund, which was intended to be used for library capital needs only.
In addition to the book endowment funds intended for purchase of books and the 2 generous Saltonstall funds, the library benefits from the general endowment funds, which, in 1987, combined a number of gifts to the library not designated for any particular library purpose. The general endowment funds combined the Richardson Fund, originally established in 1980 under the will of Jane Metherall, who is a sister of Juanita Francis Richardson, the George T. Dexter and Evangeline Hope Dexter Memorial Fund, created in 1968 by the will of Evangeline Hope Dexter, and a number of memorial donations to the library. Funds in the William B. H. Dowse Memorial Fund, which was established in 1984 and funded by the sale of the Dowse Memorial Library Building, also known as the Town Office Building, may be used for maintenance, repairs, or additions to the Sherborn Library Building.
The Children's Endowment Fund, established in 1987, recognizes and supports needs of the library's younger patrons. This fund includes grants from the Wheezy Foundation, a foundation with local ties and with initiatives that support youth and education, as well as gifts made in memory of Alice M. Weeks, a renowned geologist and professor emeritus at Temple University, and her mother, Jessie M. Dowse, who came to Sherborn in 1904 to teach school. The library's Landscape Endowment Fund was established in 1991 with a residuary balance of funds from the Sherborn Daffodil Trail, a flowering trail of daffodils that circles through the town beginning at the library, as a living memorial to Mary B. and Richard Saltonstall. These monies support maintenance of the library grounds, including daffodils on the back hill.
Established in 1999, funds from the Pease Saltonstall Library Maintenance Endowment are applied to the care and maintenance of the library's building and grounds and for the conservation of the Polly Bowditch Saltonstall Pease Rare Book Collection, which was donated to the library in 1998 by Roland F. Pease and his daughter Deborah, and was comprised of books given to Mr. Pease in 1948 by Mrs. Richard Saltonstall. The Polly Bowditch Saltonstall Pease Rare Book Collection is named after Roland's late wife, who was the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Saltonstall. Most recently, and in anticipation of the library project now underway, new endowment funds were established by 3 longtime and generous benefactors of the library. The Friends Renovation Fund in June 2010 by the Friends of the Sherborn Library, the Richard Saltonstall Library Renovation Fund in December 2010 by the Richard Saltonstall Charitable Foundation, and the Dudley H. and Sally S. Willis Library Renovation Fund in December 2011 by Dudley and Sally Willis. This legacy, established by generous benefactors over the library's rich history and carefully stewarded by the Sherborn Library Board of Trustees, has laid an exceptional foundation upon which the library's current renovation and expansion project builds.
The renovation project currently in progress represents a dynamic new chapter in the library's history and is a direct result of creative vision and deliberate planning. Nearly a decade ago, as conscientious stewards of the library director and board of trustees took the first steps toward this project. They prepared a detailed space and programming plan and applied for a preliminary design grant from the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners, MBLC. They received the MBLC grant along with matching monies from the Richard Saltonstall Charitable Foundation and promptly engaged an experienced library project manager and architectural team, formed the Library Design Study Committee, and solicited input from public boards and numerous citizens groups. The resulting preliminary design for the renovation and expansion of the existing library building became an integral part of the proposal Sherborn submitted to the MBLC for a provisional construction grant of $3.6 million. With hope that the library's legacy of private support would provide one piece in a 3-pronged public-private partnership for the project, with funding for the project ultimately coming from local and state sources as well as private donors, the trustees launched the quiet phase of the campaign for the Sherborn Library. Bolstered at the outset by several significant seed money gifts, the campaign launched the public phase of the campaign in fall 2013. To date, the campaign has raised approximately $3.8 million from more than 250 private donors. The trustees are grateful to the individuals, foundations, and corporations for gifts and pledges they have made to the campaign since its inception. Those made through the end of August 2015 appear here.
Ultimately, a combination of state, municipal, and private monies fund the library project. In May 2012, Sherborn was placed on a wait list for a $3.6 million grant from the MBLC. At that time, trustees launched the quiet phase of the campaign for the Sherborn Library to raise private funds to offset costs to the town. In July 2015, the MBLC announced approval of the $3.6 million construction grant for Sherborn. And in May 2015, the town voted to commit $1 million to the project. To date, and since its kickoff in fall of 2013, the public phase of the campaign has successfully increased total gifts and pledges to approximately $3.8 million from more than 250 private donors.
In late 2015, when a revised cost estimate for the project, $8.7 million versus $7.5 million, came in, the trustees conducted a thorough value engineering exercise and voted unanimously to fund the necessary increase without asking the town for additional money by raising and contributing additional campaign funds and endowment monies. This project is a model for Sherborn of a public-private partnership with funding from state, municipal, and private donor sources. In keeping with the aesthetic of the current library, the overarching vision for the renovation and expansion project is to create inspiring and functional space at the library for the whole community. The centerpiece of the project is a new wing, which will house a dedicated children's room and adjacent outdoor garden and terrace. Below, a sun-filled community room with modern amenities will be available for groups in town to use for meetings, events, and special functions. New and reconfigured spaces inside the library will enable the Friends of the Sherborn Library to host favorite programs and events indoors, while out the library's front doors, the familiar beech tree will faithfully serve as a backdrop for the Friends Summer Concert Series and annual Arts and Crafts Fair. Around the renovated library, carefully designed exterior paths and walkways will provide easy access for all and will make the town campus even more attractive and functional.
As a community, we embark together on an exciting new chapter in the history of the Sherborn Library. With the ambitious renovation and expansion project well underway, we can all feel the gentle hand of the library's past guiding us capably and surely into the future.